this is Luke from Cold War Collectors, and I'm going to do a video on my Canadian Pattern 64 webbing. So this webbing was introduced in 1964, saw widespread issue starting in probably late 60s around that time, used into the early 80s until replaced by the Pattern 82 webbing introduced in 82, saw widespread issue in 85-86. But it was used much later than that by reservists into probably the 90s, if not early 2000s. Now, I'll go over the basic components. You have your belt with the plastic buckle. You have your suspenders in the Y shape, right, like this. Plastic adjustments. Everything is attached by Velcro. Everything. You have your bayonet frog. I don't have the bayonet. The bayonet you would have would be for the C1 rifle, which was a Canadian clone of the FNFAL. This is not part of the system. It is part of the previous system, part of the Pattern 51. It's an ammo pouch. I'll go over that later. This is the mess tin / utility pouch. Canteen and cover. Still need the cup. Grenade pouch. Now, when this system was introduced, it was introduced alongside a uniform, a combat coat Mark II, and I'll show you that in a moment. But one thing you'll notice about this system, it doesn't have any ammo pouches, except for this, which is an exception, and I will explain that in a moment. It has a grenade pouch, canteen, utility pouch, but no ammo pouch, like I said, except for that. But that's not part of the system. You have your uniform. Now let me set this down real quick. So this is the uniform. It has a name and a number in there. And then the shoulder boards are Captain. You've got your Canadian flag on the side. This one in particular is, there you go, see that? Coat Combat Lightweight Mark II in French and in English. And then up here, where's the, okay, right here. Sorry, I know it's hard to see. There we go. Move out of the way. You see October 1992. But this design is from the, they updated it a few times. This is more with the drawstrings in between the pockets and at the very bottom. It's, this is more of a, what was it, 1971 pattern? But same, it's similar to when it was introduced. Not much did change. It was introduced alongside the webbing, although it was first introduced in 63. Even though they were designed together, this was issued sooner. They're designed to have the magazines carried in the uniform. Let me show you. Now these are G3 magazines. I have one FNFAL magazine, but I couldn't find it anyways, but they're roughly the same size. So, one in each pocket in the chest, and then on these pockets you can hold two more, and this is each side, but I've only got 4 magazines, so. In these little pockets, you have your little magazines right there. So you can have a total of 6 magazines on here. Now, soldiers didn't much like this system. So, that's the reason why, starting in the, it became more common in the 70s and the early 80s. They'd start taking the pouches, the ammo pouch to hold magazines. They'd get the ammo pouches from the older webbing system, the Pattern 51, which this replaced. Now, let me put that back in there. And move this. Let me set this down for a moment. another component, shovel cover. The shovel they had was similar to the US 51 M1951, you know, the folding shovel with the pick. It's similar, but they were Canadian manufactured, so I will need to track one of those down. They're pretty scarce, but, you know, the covers are pretty hard to get apparently as well, but I've got one, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's just a normal cover. But the thing is that the reason I don't have it on is because very rarely did soldiers actually get issued the shovels or use them. They usually used the long handle ones when they're digging positions, or they just didn't need them. So that was rarely carried, so that's why I don't have it on here. And I also don't have a shovel. Now, let's see. Let me grab something that's right over here, because I forgot to grab it before I started the video. Yep. Okay, here we go. Bandage. And the reason, and I have a few, but I just grabbed that one, but it doesn't really matter. The reason that I grabbed this is because, and this one is May 1982, but the reason I got this is because a lot of times they would tape it to the suspender. You'll see that a lot, that they'll have it taped to the suspenders. Now, this is also just, I mean, you know, it's not really part of the webbing, but I didn't know where else to, I figured I'd just show it here so I don't have to do a video on it. It's a sling for the C1 rifle, the FNFAL. So I've got the sling. I need to get the bayonet for it. Now, the other part of this set would be, or not part of the set, but something that every soldier would carry, would be this. The gas mask bag. It has its own strap system, but the straps can be removed and you can carry it on the belt via the Velcro loops. Although that wouldn't be done very much because then you'd have to keep your webbing on at all times. Let me put this up and grab the other item. This is another item from the 51 pack. Or 51 webbing. It's the small pack and the L-straps. These were also used a lot along with this because there was a pack system introduced with this, and it was a cargo pack. And the cargo pack basically, it had a big section on the bottom for the sleeping bag and then everything else, but it would only be carried, you know, for like, you know, it wouldn't be carried in combat. So, soldiers wanted to have something smaller that they could carry, you know, stuff in, like rations or shaving, whatever they'd need, you know. There's a marking there. There's also a marking there. There's a marking there. There's actually, most of my gear has got a lot of marks on it, and I'm going to show you that. So, on the bottom of this is a name. And then there's also some kind of stamp. On the side of this, there's a mark. There's a bunch of marks on the back of the utility pouch. Or, I mean, the, utility pouch. The, what's it called? The mess tin pouch. Back of the canteen. And then there's also some markings on the back of the belt. And then there's some markings on the back of the suspenders. Lots of markings. I think that's pretty neat, honestly. Now, let's show you the back side of everything. You see it just Velcros on. This is slid on. This is part of the 51 system, as I said. Slides on, Velcros on. Let me show you. That's Velcroed on. The canteen just slides on Velcro. Or you Velcro it on, or you can just slide it on. The belt's adjusted via Velcro. Honestly, this system was pretty advanced for the time, considering it came out in 1964, and you have your quick release plastic or widespread use of plastic, the Velcro, all that. Wasn't used a whole lot in the early 60s. I think it was towards the later 60s. The only thing it doesn't really have, like, another thing that came out in the 60s, is, what was it? Nylon. And that was, but that wasn't Canadian, that was, I think the U.S. was the first, wasn't it? Yeah, either way. Also, the plastic canteen. And they introduced it in 1960. The U.S. introduced the plastic canteen in 1962. This canteen is Canadian, not U.S. They're very similar, and I will show you that in a moment. The grenade pouch was meant to hold 2 grenades. The thing on the bottom is for the grenade attachment for the C1 rifle. In the grenade pouch, it would hold 2 grenades, and the type they used was the lemon grenade, the M26, if I'm not mistaken, is what it's called. The snaps are really hard to do on the canteen carrier. But I don't have the cup, but they did use I believe they were Canadian manufacturer. Maybe they used U.S. ones. I'm not sure. Here's the canteen. This is a nice early date, 1963. And the only difference that I am aware of is that the U.S. ones say made in, or says U.S. on them. These don't. And then I'll show you inside the utility pouch. And I have the mess kit. Made in Canada. There you have it. Let's see. That about does it for everything here. Now, and then I showed you the pack. Showed you the gas mask pack. Okay, last item that I can think of is this. It is a chest rig. This was designed to hold 4 40-round magazines for the LMG. I can't remember what its name was. I think it was the C3 or C something, obviously. It wasn't the C9, that was the later one. It wasn't the C7, that was the later assault rifle, which was the M16. But, let's see. It would hold... The machine gunner, the LMGs, there was 2 in a platoon, or a section. They would each have one of these. And then also I've been told that a few guys in the squad, in the section, would also have these to, carry extra ammo. But these 2 straps just tie around your back, or waist, or wherever. And then these 2 go across. So you wear it across, and then you got your plastic buckles to attach it. So that's pretty much it for that as well. So, I mean, that pretty much covers it for the 64 webbing. I'll do a video on the 82 webbing later on. But yeah, subscribe, comment, rate, all that stuff. Bye.